All right. Well, thank you all. Can you guys hear me okay? Everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? Miss Anderson, can you hear me? All right, great. Thank you. I got you on my split screen here. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the call. Happy Monday. Hope everybody was safe, had a great weekend. What a powerful weekend we're having with numbers coming in. People are signing up new customers and IBOs every day. We had a great week of signing up IBOs. My God, congratulations, all of you. Hey, I'd like to thank Mr. Antonio Dash out there, Caroline Baker, Mr. Christopher Anderson from Ohio, Mr. Daryl Ranson up in Nashville, Tennessee, Ms. Dominic Young, good seeing you, school teacher up there in Nashville, Tennessee. Golden Rivers, thank you so much. Devon Templeton in Memphis, Tennessee. TJ in Ohio, and Boss Lady in Nashville, Tennessee, who's a regional director, one of our beloved trainers and a great leader. Hey, we got a great call lined up, man. This young lady, we are just so excited about her coming on our call. We had back in the, we're going to do a big training in the month of March in Fresno, but we all know that didn't come out. But here again, let's just bring it to the Zoom call. She is highly sought after. She's a great leader. Her husband's a great guy. She comes from Monterey, California, Salinas, Salinas, yeah. Monterey, just a wonderful leader. And her husband built Customs Home. She has a great background as being a hairdresser, got involved with ACN and how ACN saved things happening back in 2008, 2009. Maybe she'll get into that, which I love her stories. She's a regional vice president on her way up to platinum. We just love her so much. One and only Miss Jocelyn Driskill. There she is. Hey, beautiful.
Hi, good morning.
You just look younger and younger and younger and younger. I don't know what you're drinking, but I want some.
Coffee and a little water.
All right. Well, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today. It's all yours.
Well, thank you. I am so honored and blessed to be with all of you here today. Can you hear me, see me, everything good? Okay.
You're good.
Perfect. Well, you know, having this conversation with Mr. Al Thomas last week and getting this phone call, what I can tell you about Mr. Thomas is anytime he calls, in fact, I missed the first call he made and I'm like, I'm sorry, I missed it because I will totally answer his call immediately. I'll drop everything just to talk to this gentleman. He is an incredible man. He's truly impacted. He probably doesn't even realize how many lives he's impacted. And we're just one of many with whether we're being trained from far away, whether it's an international stage or it's at a bigger regional training or via Zoom like this. You know, it's just been amazing to have someone like Mr. Thomas in our life who is grounded, has a foundation of longevity in our company, which equals 100% credibility in my mind. All the things that he has done over his life and an example he has set for so many of us in ACN and outside of ACN. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, appreciate it. So we're going to share, I'm just going to share a little bit about myself, my background for those of you who don't know me. I want you to know me, and I know Mr. Thomas wants you to know me. And, you know, I'm nobody special. It's just that I'm a child of God. And is it okay if I be raw and honest and real here? I don't plan to put my faith upon anybody else. Just know that in order to share my story, that's where it starts. So for me, I have to be real with this. And so as I'm sharing my story, I want you to maybe take some notes, some things that maybe you could do to shift and change your mindset and to change your heart so that you can actually tweak something, whether it's if you're new here and just starting your business or you've been around for a while, that's something that you could tweak in your business that would absolutely impact the next moves you make here in ACN. Because what I can tell you about my story is it is similar of what's happening today in our world, and we don't take what's happening today lightly. No matter what your belief is, no matter how you feel what's going on, whether you like the president, don't like the president, the decisions that are being made, you know, I always say, don't worry about the White House, worry about our house. And we can only start with us. And, you know, back in 2009, when Tony and I saw ACN, we were in a place of an economy shift. Just like what's happening today in a different world. It's different 11 years later. But for Tony and I, it was the crash of 2008. And how many of you know what that looked like? How many of you felt it? How many of you lost everything like we did? See, I come from a background of hairdressing. I grew up with entrepreneurs in my family. My dad was an architect. My mom and dad actually met at Cal Berkeley, and he ran a very successful business. I actually worked for him for 9 years, and I know that was the setup for me learning business. I was his office manager. And then I stepped into the world of cosmetology because my whole thing is creativity, and I truly wanted to work in that industry, and I did that for 28 years. Blessed to have done that. I was a single parent 8 of those years raising my daughter on my own. Her dad actually had passed away, so he wasn't even in her life. And that was a tough time. See, I will tell each and every single one of you, life happens in our every single day life. It happens to every single one of us. And some of us just don't tell all of the things that happen to us. We just handle them and deal with them and go through them. And what I do know is, for me, God has always picked me up, brushed me off, and set me in my direction. And I'll get more into that as we go. But I was a single parent back then. And then I met my husband. I had a very successful cosmetology business. I did very well. In fact, I was booked a year in advance. That's how well I did. I don't say that to impress anybody, but just to impress upon you. It was not me, it was my work ethic and my desire and my why of being a single parent to put something more significant in my daughter's life, and to teach her that we can get through any obstacle. Then fast forward, I met my husband 23 years ago, and he's in the construction industry. He is a high-end residential home builder out here in the Monterey area, actually a lot of California. He doesn't just do in Monterey. He's originally from Napa, so he's done a lot of projects up in that area. I know Mr. Thomas likes wine like we do, so Napa's a great place, right? But right, yep, let's do it. I love it. We're just having a coffee talk here, so it's all good. Maybe a wine talk at some other point, but you know, when we met, there was We connection, though, you know, God placed him in my life 10 years prior. I never looked at him as a spouse 10 years prior to that. We were taking our own journey and our own path, and, you know, there's perfect timing for everything. And so fast forward, we got married and we joined forces in the construction industry because, as I shared with you, my parents were architects and I worked with my dad for 9 years. So you can tell why I said I was prepped for that. I jumped into business with him, but besides that, my brothers are both contractors. So that is a world I knew. I love landscape and interior design. And I don't love the book side of it, but I did step in to do the books for him because he hates it. So we joined forces and created an incredible business. We created a multi-million-dollar company that was thriving. We were blessed to have the talents and gifts that we had to run a company like that. It took every ounce of work ethic and desire and why and visions that we had to create a better life that we had envisioned. Everybody has a different vision of what they want. It wasn't about the money. It was about how much we loved what we were doing, how much we truly wanted to have a life where we could do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it. And I can tell you back then we were able to do that. We bought a home in Wyoming near Jackson Hole that we love so much. That's our God's country and where we leave to get respite. We would actually visit Wyoming and in our home there on a ranch 10 to 11 times a year. Well, in 2008, I'm just fast forwarding. I'm trying to get through this because there's a lot to say. Fast forwarding in 2008, it doesn't matter how great you are at what you do. It doesn't matter how much you've diversified in stock market, 401ks, investments into real estate. We were diversified, but at the end of the day, we lost it all. I can't I can't sugarcoat any of it, you guys, because we lost our home, a home we designed and built for ourselves and that we loved, our home in Wyoming, but we lost all of it except our God and our marriage. That's really what I can tell you. The money it just kept bleeding out of our bank account. It was a place where we were that we couldn't change. So it doesn't matter how great you are at what you do, when an economy hits like it does, and it's doing it again, we have said it was coming. We just didn't know it was going to be in a form of a virus and then shut down everything, right? And what we decided back in 2009, when we saw this information, I don't know about any of you, but I do know that you know people who are sitting out there today doing exactly what we were doing back in 2009, which was praying. We were praying for our life to change. I have the chills as I'm saying it. Praying for our life to change, something to be different. What are we going to do? Where are we going to live? How are we going to, we have a child at home. How are we going to put a roof over our head if we're losing our home? Where are we going to go? And all I can tell you is we let it go. We let it all go. We just said, if we could do this once, we could do it again, but we have no idea how we're going to get there. See, there was a facilitator. I'm getting the chills. There is a facilitator that's like you and me, that have a gift in our hands, that opened her mouth and invited us to a presentation. I got tears in my eyes, guys, so there's something going on here. That's invited us to a presentation because she respected us as business owners. She'd never owned a business in her life. And she said, I respect you. She was very successful in what she did. She's a regional manager for Union Banks today, and her husband was in the mortgage industry. But she said, I respect you. I want your business perspective. Would you do me a favor? Take a look at this business that has residual income attached to it, and let me know what you think about it. I said, sure. What day, what time? See, an open mind will always be the open mind will be the best thing you could ever have. A closed mind will be the most expensive thing one owns. But I can also tell you I was the right person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. See, I had been praying, so I didn't know exactly what I was going to see. I knew a little bit about a person I was going to meet. She shared that someone was going to actually share this information, who had been featured in Success Magazine, which all day long you can do this with Mr. Al Thomas, who had huge success in her endeavors. She came from the mortgage industry, so she just edified a person. And I was so excited to go listen, and I had no idea what I was seeing. She didn't say telecommunications. She didn't say anything except, would you do me a favor and check this out? And I said, absolutely. And I showed up, and I sat in a living room with about 50 people in it, 50. And 30 of them were Keller Williams real estate agents. Some of them were from corporate America. Some of them were traditional business owners. Some of them were working for produce companies. Some of them own produce companies. That's a fact. So don't prejudge anybody, because we were all sitting there going, what the heck are we going to do? Every single one of us silently were sitting in that living room based on prayers, or what the heck are we going to do? And we saw this information, and within 5 minutes of the video was like 6 minutes back then, but within the video, 2 minutes, I was like, my world opened up. Like, I can't even explain to you what happened to myself sitting in that living room. I'm sitting in the chair, my head is nodding, and I'm going, holy cow, this is it. This is it. And I had no idea how it worked, what it was going to look like, how we were going to do it in our crazy life, because that didn't change what was still going on in our life. We still had 2 businesses going, losing money every single day. We still had, a child at home. We had no time to add one more thing. But this is what went through my head. If I don't change something, what's going to change? That's what I was thinking. And I said, this is the answer to prayer. I just need to talk to the person who's sharing this information in front of the room, and I need her to tell me that she can help me. See, there's so many people out there, you guys, right now that, you know, it's something like a lot of people are doing a thing called duck and cover. We're not in a war. We still have freedoms. We're in the US here. And we still have opportunities out there. And you might feel like people aren't hearing you, but keep talking because they're going to hear you. You just keep sharing that information, put it in front of them. Don't worry about what they say, what they don't say, what they do, what they don't do. Just keep getting ACN out in front of them because the gift is so big and will change their absolute life like it did Tony and I. Because when you show them the overview, you're going to have aha moments. Eventually, when they actually take the time to sit down and see it and stop duck and covering, watching Netflix, thinking that they're going to collect their unemployment and go back to work in a week or two. Those things are not going to happen. You know, the economy doesn't just change overnight when it gets hit like it's getting hit. Some people will be okay right away. Some people will not. Most people will not. What is it? How many millions of people are on unemployment right now? I just want you guys to realize that ACN impacts lives like it did Tony and I. See, I invited him to a present. See, he wasn't sitting there with me. I actually signed 2 applications on the spot. I said, I won't ask him for permission. I'll just ask for forgiveness. And I'm going to give you a tip right here. For those of you who know people who are married and one spouse sees it, or they have a significant other and they're not seeing this information together, make sure you let them know this. They must see it the same way that the initial spouse or significant other saw it, and meet the people that they saw it from. Because I can tell you, if I would have called Tony up and said, honey, I have telecommunications, I saw a business that has telecommunications and energy, da 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 da, he would have said, what the heck is going on with you? He would not have heard the information and had the same answer if I would have sat there and tried to give him all the information through a phone call to him. All I did was call him up and say, honey, you need to meet me at this place at this time. Don't ask me any questions. I'm not going to answer them. You need to meet the person I met who has 100% of the information, who's going to tell you exactly what she told me, that opened up my world and said, this is it, but I need you to see it. So don't ask me any questions. And he showed up, he sat in that living room, and within the moment he got to the how much it is, and back then it was $4.99, he said, we can't afford not to do this. Exact words. I promise you that is not a line. It's exactly what he said. He looked at me and he goes, are you kidding me? We can't afford not to do this. I said, you're right. I made that decision 2 hours ago. We have 2 positions. That living room had 50 more people in it. And everybody was starting to sign up, and we were already signed up, ready to go. We just got started. And when we got started, we had no idea what we were doing. We don't understand direct selling. We don't know this industry. But in our mindset as a traditional business owner, the best thing we did is we set aside our traditional business owner hat, and we were coachable to someone who already had success, like Mr. Thomas and many leaders that are on this call. We said, you show us what to do, we'll do it. Because of our work ethic, because of our desire and our huge why, we were driven to do the right things. I will 100% tell you, I know that that prayer was answered, because when I look back, I have no idea how we were able to buy a home in our first year of ACN. We lost our home, we bought a home. I don't know how we made 2 digits before a comma in our first 40 days. I didn't even understand the comp plan. I don't know how we hit ETT and ETL back then. We just followed the system. We were coachable, and we just did what we said to our coach that we would do. We would follow the system, just show us what to do. We have no time to think about this, no time to put extra time into a new business. She said, here it is, my hand. I'll be your time until we get your time back. I said, great. So we sat in our office. So we did one home presentation. That's the first thing that she did with us. She said, we need to call everybody you know so we can leverage your time. I said, great. What do we need to do? Make a list. You guys, this is probably going to sound so familiar that in every Saturday training, you hear this. And I'm not telling you a Saturday training. I am telling you our story. And we made a list. And Tony and I, we got started on a Tuesday. Our home meeting was Saturday. Before we even got to Saturday, she had us get a few people on a phone call, and we got them started. We had like 6 people on a phone call, and 3 got started on the spot over the phone. So we hit a position called executive team trainer before even Saturday came. So guess what? We were making money back in that compensation plan. I didn't know. She knew. I had no clue that we were making money on Saturday. She knew. She was creating our story without me even knowing it. We were just coachable. So how do you control timelines and condense the time frames? This is how. So we hit executive team trainer, and on Saturday, prior to that, we had invited 60 people. Between Tony and I, we invited 60 people. We followed up, and we got confirmation calls, and 28 actually showed up. Numbers don't lie, guys. They say 50%, right? So numbers don't lie. 28 showed up. I never wanted to talk in front of a room of people. So for you to see me here talking on Zoom, looking at faces, you got to smile if you're on the camera, smile, because I get energy from smiles. I'm standing in front of a room, and she told me on the spot, you're going to open the room. I said, no, I'm not. I can't do that. These are my friends and family, but I still couldn't do that. I had that fear. So how many of you out there have that fear? So did Tony. We're not professional speakers. We didn't grow up in, I can talk one-on-one to someone. Mr. Al Thomas and I can have a great conversation. I'm actually going to listen and let him talk. That's how I learn in cosmetology, is to be a great listener. So I'm like, no, I'm not. She goes, well, then I'm not. I go, oh, yeah, you are. So I'll do it. So I got in front of the room. I have no idea what I said. So this is the key. You got to get your new people in front of the room, because it's not the person who has all the information that closes the people. It's the person who actually who gets up in front of the room and is the host and sharing the story and excited. See, all I was is that I had hope. I had hope. Tony and I had huge hope. That's how we invited, with our excitement, our hope in our spirits. And I got in front of the room, have no idea what I said except thank you for coming. And we're doing this with or without you. That's what we said. We are so excited. We are doing this with or without you. I'm so glad you came. Here she is. That's all. That's all I can imagine that I said. But I'll tell you 100% that enrolled the people that were in that living room, because they were fear of loss, for one. For two, we were excited and we had hope. See, Tony, I'm going to give you a visual. You guys know the Titanic, right? And you know it hit an iceberg and it went down, and it had a few hours to make decisions. Some people lived, some people died. Correct? Well, we were the Titanic. That's how we felt. And that's what my husband talks about, is how he was Leonardo DiCaprio hanging on that piece of wood with his wife and his child. That's about all he had left. And the hope that someone would come and save us. And he saw the ACN, I'm getting chills again. He saw the ACN lifeboat that had this big, beautiful light on it, and a hand reaching down and said, let me help you. And we grabbed the hand. That's all. Sorry. Still today, you could tell that this story is real. And there's going to be a lot of stories like us. And maybe you're one. Maybe you've been through it. Maybe you're going through it. I don't know. But ACN is a lifeboat. And that's my hope that I put in front of that room that day. That's the people that were the right people that heard that voice to them. So it doesn't matter who's in the room and who does it, who doesn't do it, because some people joined. 6 people on the spot got started out of those 28. 15 more of those 28 got started over the next 2 weeks. We hit the position called executive team leader before the month was out. Probably, I think it was 20 days. And in the month of March, at that end of that month, within 2 weeks, our coach was telling us, you need to go to the international training event. I go, what's that? Right? I had already been to a regional, I'd been to a Saturday, but I couldn't even remember all these things that are available to us. So know that with your new people, just think, because you know doesn't mean they still remember, or that they know or they understand. But your commitment and your conviction to their success is so important. See, I don't let people get away with, make sure that they hear me. I make sure they hear me. Because I never want them to come back and say, I didn't really realize or didn't know. See, I don't worry about them getting mad at me. I don't worry about them. I don't worry about feeling like I'm pressuring. I'm not pressuring them. I have a gift and I know what works because it worked for me. It worked for Tony. And so when I know that they're should be on a training call like this, and I know that Saturday training will help them, and I know being at a regional, wish we were in Fresno at that regional, because they're powerful. But these are powerful. I hope you can feel me through this Zoom call of being real, because real people are at the top places in this company and sharing their true stories. They were not professionals before, but what I can also tell you is you need to go pro. Even if it's around what your career is, what your traditional business is, don't take this business lightly. You need to become a professional at it. That's what Tony and I said. We started reading the right books, listening to the right people, getting the right training, feeding our minds and our bodies and our souls with the right information, not the junk that's on CNN or Fox News or whatever it is. You know, a lot of it's fake. I don't know. It's like a lot of it. I don't know, but you guys, there's things out there that we don't know are true or not true. And you know, it's opinions. And so it is what it is. But here in ACN, and centering your day with Christ is which is what I do. My day always begins with him. That's how I can have a better 24 hours than most people. That's how I had a better 24 hours back in 2009, is because that's where I started. We lost everything except him. And our marriage got stronger because of him. And our world of financial stability and getting back on our feet was because of him. And ACN, that core is, you look at Mr. Al Thomas, you look at our co-founders, their core, their center is him. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's him. And why do they have success? It's him. I can't say it any better than that. That doesn't mean we're perfect, because we're not. And do we have losses continuing throughout our lives? We do. Because you guys, I lost my dad during this time. Tony lost his dad during this time. There was a time in 2016 when Tony almost passed away. He was 5 hours from death, and I was in Charlotte, North Carolina at an international event, because when I left him, he just had a fever. We thought he had the flu. He ended up on a surgery table with an intestinal burst and went sepsis. How did he make it? A miracle. Through prayer from distances. We were distant. We were a coast to coast distance. I had to take a faith walk at that moment in time. My grandson had heart surgery in this whole time frame. I've had 3 grandkids since 2009. It's amazing. Today is my granddaughter's 11th birthday. She was born April 27th of 2009, the year we got started, of January of 09. So there's all kinds of life and death and losses and heartaches and hardships and things that happen. You got to stay centered. Who's going to center you? And you got to keep your mind on the goal, and you got to not let go of your dreams and your visions when life happens, because it's going to continue to happen. And you got to bring the gift of ACN into this world, because it is powerful and it will absolutely 100% change lives. We're just one. So when you look back at our step into this company, see, I said we hit ETL, and I'm going back to that, ETL in our first 20 days or so. We went to an international training event where we saw 15,000 people, and I had to work through something just to get there, not just the money piece, because again, that was only a month and a half into our career of ACN. So money was just now starting to come in as it was in checks, not in direct deposits, okay? But we made a double digit before a comma, and that money started to flow in. I don't know, I do know, but I don't know how money was continuing to flow in and paying the bills that we needed to pay. Getting through this because we stepped into a prayer that was answered by a gift that we didn't know that it would look like ACN. Everybody thinks that, I think we control everything in our life, that when somebody presents you with something, and I want you to think about this in the people that you're talking to, is they're so in control and want to control what things look like and how it's supposed to look, that when the actual gift comes and it doesn't look like they think, they don't know what to do. It's just the truth. And so after that international event, we come home as an executive team leader, and we went to work because we were so excited. That event changed and impacted our world even more than we were excited before it. I had no clue. I got 24 hours of that international event. My granddaughter's baby shower was that weekend. So you want to talk about an obstacle? It was Saturday. I had 72 people already invited. I mean, I had there was about 70 people coming to that baby shower already confirmed before she told me I needed to go to the international event. That's another story for another time. But all I can tell you is Tony got 3 days of the event. I figured out how to get there Saturday night at 9 o'clock. So anybody who's ever been to an international event, you know that there's only a few hours the next morning. There's the nighttime stuff. I went to a roundup, whatever they call it, with a team like Mr. Thomas does with a group. And we already had created a story, and we were a story to share in front of all these people. We didn't even know, why is our story important, right? We share this story and people are inspired, and I'm inspired because I have a story, right? And so we share this story, and then I go to the event in the morning and I'm blown away. But we come home from that event and 82 people got started in our business in the month of March, second month in business in 2009. What does the ETL compensation plan pay you today when 82 new IBOs get started and acquire 3 services? You figure that number out and tell me that isn't a blessing in the second month of a business. And it's all because of the training and support and the perfect system and the coaches and mentors that aligned with us and said, let me be your time. And that we were still doing our construction company, money flowing out the back door in that company, money coming in with ACN on the front side. And Tony actually stopped doing construction for 2 years, and we ran with ACN because he would have to bid and there wasn't any jobs. This is what's going to happen to a lot of people right now. This is why this story is so pertinent for you guys to hear it and take it to heart. Because there are people like Tony and I out there and yourself waiting to hear your voice. Period. And together we rise in this time. Together we rise in this time. Mr. Thomas and I are united in whether we're in the same team. It doesn't matter. We're in the same family because we are in the same team. And we have your backs. We 100% will be taking anyone who wants to go with us to the next level, because all of you on this call are regional vice presidents and senior vice presidents if you're on this call this morning. You just have to believe it. But guess what? Because somebody believed in us prior, we believe in you. We believe in you. You can do this. You can take your business to the next level. I hope that you hear exactly what I've said to you and know that there are people waiting for your voice. I don't know what more I can say or what more I can share, but if you have any questions, Mr. Thomas, or how you want to go further here, what I can share with you, my heart overflowed. So.
You know what we can do, dear? We can do a couple, we'll take like maybe 3 questions. But before we take the questions, let me say this. Can we have you back next Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my thing right here, next Monday. I want to highlight before we open 3 questions, all we're going to have right now. But number 1, let's highlight what she said. Be a great listener. Hope you guys caught that. Number 2, ASIN saved them after the Titanic went down and a hand reached out. Can you all be a hand to people and get them on the 1 o'clock call, 3 o'clock call today? Reach out to people today, folks. Look, they're still at home. This is the 8th week almost. They need a hand. The third thing I took down is ASIN is a lifeboat. My Lord, I start crying because you have the antidote. You have the antidote. Wow. And this pandemic, no, it's pandemic. It's a pandemic. You don't understand. Not a pandemic. It's a pandemic. 4th thing she said, make sure make sure people hear your message and why ASIN is a gift, and help people understand that. And number 5, she said, you must be real. Go pro. Go what? Go pro.
First book we read.
Go pro. And stay centered with your goals. And don't let nobody knock you off your goals. My God, that's powerful. So let's do this. Let's take on about 3 questions. You got time for 3 questions, Ms. Driskill? Let's take on 3 questions. 3 questions. And by the way, Ms. Driskill, I'd like to invite you back Wednesday night at 6:30 on here for my happy hour. Ask Al. I will be asked, Ms. Driskill. I do a happy hour with a glass of wine at 6:30 on Wednesday.
Yay.
Yeah, 6:30 on Wednesday and 6:30 on this Friday is a happy hour. So we have our wine or a cocktail. So Wednesday and Friday this week at 6:30, it's happy hour. It's called Ask Al Happy Hour.
Love it.
But anyway, before I have a question, today at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, the 4 horse will be back. 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We have another 1 through 8 every day, 7 days a week, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So get your people on here. And then Wednesday, I do it at 6, and then 6:30 we start our happy hour, Ask Al Happy Hour on Wednesday and this Friday. Happy hour with Al. Happy hour.
Can I say one thing before we take a thing? Can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Thomas is talking about all these presentations. That is such a gift to be able to have Senior Vice President, Mr. Al Thomas, legend in this company, sought after around the world, to be right here with us, present, with that hand coming out and helping each and every one of you help with your hand. And you have to take advantage of building your business from event to event to event. That is how you will explode this business. That is how we did it without even thinking about it. At least get 1 person. 1 person will get to 2 people. 2 people will get to 4 people. 4 people will get to 8 people. 8 people will get to 16, and it will get to 72 and hundreds of people. And then you'll have a Latin America expansion like I do, which is a vision I had 4 years before it happened, because somebody that I knew 40 levels deep brought someone who knew someone in Mexico and Colombia.
And Colombia.
Yeah, and Peru. We're already there. And I don't even speak Spanish, but because the vision was there, I didn't give up on the vision. I kept going and I kept building and I kept calling and I kept putting one person and one person and one person. And I kept dripping on people that I knew had huge gifts in their life that they needed to explode. And at some moment they came back to me and said, it's me. So don't stop. Sorry, hold on. Don't stop. Don't stop with people just because they don't answer you. I'm going to tell you, if someone doesn't respond to you, whether it's 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, Mr. Irving Herrera took me 2 years. He's the one who went to Mexico, Colombia, and now Peru and leads that expansion. It took me 2 years to drip on him without him even responding to me half of those times, 3/4 of those times. And he got back to me and I said, if you're going to talk, if you want this and you want to take my time, I'll come to you and we'll have this conversation. And that was 2 years after dripping. So people don't respond to you because they don't have an answer. They can't say yes and they can't say no, so they say nothing. So stop thinking about what people think. You don't know what they're thinking. Period.
That's right. Wow. Wow. Woo, Lord have mercy. You got me over here tearful throughout this call today. So 1 o'clock, have a guest on. Today at 3 o'clock, guest on. You know, every day, all of it, every day, 7 days a week, we're doing this. Myself, I mean, Mr. Brian, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Oren, matter of fact, today's Oren Solomon's birthday. Mr. Chatlin. Every day, Monday, every day, 1 to 3, every day for the rest of April. We only got less than a week, a couple days left in April. We're done. Matter of fact, this Thursday is the last one, but we're still going to do the 6 o'clock on Friday. Zoom call that I do at 6 o'clock, and then 6:30. It's Ask Al with our glass of So Wednesday and Friday. It's Ask Al with a glass of champagne, whatever your desire is. It's our happy hour.
Me.
Yeah, we're gonna do a happy hour. Wednesday at 6:30. I do a 1 through 10 at 6, and then at 6:30 we have a happy hour on Wednesday and Friday. So we can't go out. So I discovered I might not do my own happy hour. So we have a happy hour on Wednesday and Fridays. Okay. But here again, remember what she said. Take it to heart. And what I want to do is 3 questions real quickly. Anybody have a question out there, just raise your hand and we'll go from there. And we'll be back with Mr. Dwight Williams, a businessman in Houston, Texas. Wednesday, I got a surprise guest speaker. Thursday, Mr. Dean Torelli will be back with us. Friday, we have another guest speaker possibly. And then we're right into the weekend where we do Sunday trainings with Rose Guerrero and Chris King. As a matter of fact, last night's training, can we give Miss Luana Pinedo a hand? She did a wonderful training last night. And if you missed it, go back to our channel and look at it. You guys are missing so much on Sunday nights. Where are you going on Sunday nights? Should be on here at 7 o'clock learning. I mean, she has over 232 personal customers. She's a grandmother, for crying out loud. What are you doing last night? Should have been on there listening. And that's why your business explodes. Miss Jocelyn Driskill, can we give her a hand? She don't know she blessed. My God, she blessed me.
Okay, I think Terry Lynn has one. Terry Lynn has Terry Lynn has her.
TJ in Ohio. Keep it brief.
There we go. Hi there, everyone. Thank you so much, Ms. Driskill and Mr. Thomas. My question is actually for both of you. White or red? The wine choice, white or red, please. And then what books are you currently reading? What, besides the Bible, what book are you currently reading? Thank you. I'll take my answer quietly.
Ladies first.
Okay, my answer is red. That's the first one, right? And champagne on the side, so that would be white with bubbles. But the book I'm reading, I read over and over and over again. There's a couple. So the number 1 book I recommend that I'm back reading again for about the 15th time is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Oh, powerful.
No better time to read that book or listen audible, which is what I like to do because I love to hear and soak it up, than that book right now in this time. It's so pertinent. It was written in 1938, not published till 2011. All things you could hear if you haven't read it. but you need to read it and listen to it over and over for it to sink in of what really goes on in this world and how we're deceived. So, and how you overcome. And it's powerful. The other one, Think and Grow Rich. I'm reading that one again right now. And GoPro, go back to it. And if you haven't read it, read it. It is a must. That was our powering book for the first year in our network marketing business. And the first year in network marketing is also good. So if you're new, those two books are the best things for you to read, along with Outwitting the Devil, because we read that in our first year as well.
I would say go with that. This Wednesday, I probably do white. Friday, I might do red wine. I like a variety, but in champagne, I had champagne. Sunday, my Sunday brunch after church, in church, I listen to Pastor Boyd at True Christian Ministries. It's 11 o'clock service. After that, in the evening, I'll have a little champagne, or should I say mimosa. But
mimosa.
Think big.
Yep.
We're studying that now. My leader's on the phone call. You know who you are. We're studying that now. The one thing, what's the one thing you could do to explode your business? He's a real estate guy, but what's the one thing you could do to explode your business? And that's what I'm saying. So many of you guys are listening to this call, this person. You don't need to listen to everybody. You guys got 10 or 15, 20 people. You're so scattered, your business is not growing. And I said before, you only need 3 people to listen to. That's it. Quit. The Business of the 21st Century by Robert Kiyosaki is great for the young people to listen to. And as I travel to Fresno and South Carolina, and when I go to Nashville, I give this all the young people because they can relate to it. Look, I'm an old guy. They can't relate to conversation, but they can relate to this book because it talks about the 21st century. They're living it now. But you don't know that. You're talking the same way. Look, Mark Cuban, I was listening this morning. We're 1.0 is gone. We're 2.0. What's the future? This is a brave new world as of March the 15th. It's a brave new, but here's another one. Who moved my cheese? Your cheese has been moved.
Good
My
one.
God, you got to understand. Yeah. What is gone is gone. It's never going to be back to the good old days. Your grandparents said around the good old days. No, they've been gone. And you know what? This is the latest book. Who Stole My Pension? And here's what's happening. This hasn't even came up. See this pandemic or plandemic? Was it planned or? Oh, let me be quiet. See, you don't have no idea that your pensions has been stolen. They're disguising a lot of this stuff that you don't even know what's going on in the real world. And that's a conversation some other time. But let's get you to build your business so you can take your excess capital and do some investing, which I didn't even talk about because I can't talk about it. I'm scared to. But let's go back. Last question, Mr. Jocelyn Driskill. Let's go back to this. Next question. Who's Samsung?
The raised hand. Unmute yourself. Who are you, Samsung?
All right.
By the way, I have a statement from Pastor Furtick that, he's been saying a message last week and this week. It's called, why go back to the old normal? Let's go forward to normal, a new normal, not an old normal. And that goes into what you were. So not back to normal. We're going forward to a new normal.
Hey, Pastor Kevin Boyd preached a message yesterday talking about the same thing about, you get overtaken. You're so busy looking, you can't see it coming, and it's coming, and it's already hit you, and you still don't know what to do. It was a powerful message yesterday.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So last question. Anybody else have a question out there?
There's 2 more hands raised, so I don't know who they are, though.
Unmute yourself.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yes.
Oh, hi. Good morning. This is Martha Grijalva, and my question to Joyce Driskill is, how did you manage 82 people joining your business in 1 month?
Great question. I'm so glad you asked that. You guys have heard about momentum, right? Or you've had momentum, or you know about momentum. Mm-hmm. I get asked that and this is what I'm going to tell you. If that is what's in your mind and you're thinking about how you're going to handle it, you're not going to handle it.
Okay.
And the reason I'm not calling you out on it. I'm just wanting you to change your mindset. I hadn't, the greatest gift I had is that it happened so quickly that I didn't have time to think about it. See, all of you, like many of you have been thinking about it, and it's held you back from hitting RD. It's held you back from hitting RVP because you think that way. You think, how am I going to handle all these people if I can't handle one or two? See, it's easier to handle an army than it is to handle one person and their problems.
It sure is.
I can 100% tell you, because I'm not worried about one person and what they're not doing. I have a bunch of people doing a bunch of things, and they're running. See, when you get those people in your team and you're new, you have help. You have Mr. Thomas. See, the gift of this business is that you have help. But if you're jumping on all these calls and on Saturday trainings, you're learning, and all you're doing is taking them through a simple system. So your whole goal is to help them get through their first three services, get people in front of them. Just simple, simple, simple. We make it complicated, and I didn't have time to make it complicated. So if you have too much time on your hands, it's going to be harder. You got to have less time on your hands and get into the actions that actually, see, people don't even know I launched their business. I had somebody qualified in less than 5 minutes with 3 Vivint accounts.
You know, Ms. Driskill, that's one thing I said. You know, people always ask me the questions. Well, how big are you down? How many people come? I don't care about all that. I never, and somebody heard me say it, and now you're wondering. You wonder why I have her on there, because she just confirmed so much for me. And sometimes you get it better when somebody else said it than when I say it. It's like your kids. Don't touch the stove. Somebody said they don't touch. How many times have I said to you, I don't care about anything but getting a new person qualified. As simple as that is, no, I need more information. No, just go get that 1, 2, 3. Get them qualified.
People aren't getting information from me. I'm just doing the actions. I just signed in 3 new business partners. 2 of them are business owners, super busy. I just said, let me be your time. I'm gonna just tell you how to do this, and we're gonna do it together. This is how it's gonna go. And I said, don't ask me any questions. You're gonna see. You're gonna see how it unfolds. You're gonna see the check in your bank account on Saturday because we did this today. And then when I have that going, you're now creating a story, and the story is infectious. The story just keeps developing and unfolding, and people are excited. And it's just do the simple things. Don't worry about 80 people coming in your business, because that'll take care of itself when it comes. I promise you it did. I had no idea how to run 80 people, but I didn't think about 80 people coming in. I don't think about 80 people coming in now. I just think about the new person getting started, helping them get their 3 services, getting their people in front of this information as quick as possible to help them have success. That's all I think.
In other words, let me say this. Just do it. Nike. Nike says just 3 words. Just do it. Mm-hmm. I need more training. I need more this. I need to listen to this. Oh my God.
Just get on training, but get people on training with you. Get on event calls like this and just get people on with you. Let the system work for you. Work the system perfectly. Let the system work for you perfectly. Leverage your time by using the system. I mean, we had so much going on back there. The best way was that we used the system. We used our upline help. We got coached. We made sure that we condensed timeframes because we needed it yesterday, not 10 months from now. We needed money today. So we didn't have time to think about all of that. That was our gift for one, but we also didn't hesitate and put our feet in the ground and ask a bunch of questions. We just did it. That's all we had time for. And we put people and people and people in front of the business.
Why do you think I do this Monday through Friday for you? Why do you think I do the 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock for you? Wednesday at 6 and Friday at 6 for who? You. 6:30 is for us. No. But why do I do this?
I need a drink after it.
Thank you. Because they get on there time after time, but don't bring nobody on. And then they hear about somebody put 80 people in Dallas. Oh my God, how's it? Well, first of all, get people on these calls. Not this one, but the 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Some of you show up, but nobody. Some of you still ain't brought nobody. So how do you expect to get to 60? You can't get to 5.
I'm going to tell you something. I had one person in a living room, my very first presentation that happened after international event. So that was in somebody else's living room. There were about 30 people in that living room. That one couple had their presentation just by doing these actions. 2 days later, this couple that got started had a presentation. They had 100 people in that living room. You never know when and you can get thousands on this Zoom call. One person had 100 people. So if you don't get through the one, you can't get to the 100.
Stretch your thinking. Stretch your thinking.
That's what those books do. Sorry for interrupting you, Mr. Thomas. I'm excited.
No, dear, you're perfectly fine. I'm sorry interrupting you.
No.
Mr. Ismail, last question. Mr.
Hussein?
Unmute your phone, sir.
She answered the question. Thank you.
Oh, Ismail.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Your question got answered?
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome.
You light me up right now.
Yay, that's what I want.
You know, you guys, now here, I'm gonna end it with this. You guys get all this great stuff. My question to you,
Mr.
I've asked her,
talking.
took time of her day to ask you, what are you gonna do with it now that you got it? What are you gonna do with the information? Are you gonna sit on it, be doers of what you heard, or what are you gonna do with it? It's a brand new week, what are you gonna do with it? Let's see what you do between now and 1 o'clock. And let's see what you do from 1 o'clock to 3. Let's see what you do with it. Use it. What are you gonna do with it?
Pick up that phone and call one person that you have been afraid to call. I'll guarantee you they've been waiting for you. One person, 2 people, 3 people, I don't know. You have the list in front of you. Don't let that phone be heavy. Shoot them a text. Are you free to talk for a second? I need a favor.
And don't just put the tools in the toolbox. Somebody just text me. Don't put it in the toolbox. Take the tool out and use the tool.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing. We take too much information in, but we're not using it. Take it out and use the tools.
The problem with
Ms. Jocelyn Driskill, give us.
Can I say one thing and then I'll be done?
Absolutely.
The problem with too much information is you spurt out too much information. If you're soaking up, which great that you have it in, but then what happens is because you don't have 80 people around you, you're spurting out too much information and you're not, don't be the deal. Let Mr. Thomas, let somebody else be the deal. Turn everything over to somebody else. Get yourself out of the way. 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 Done.
Give us a few words in closing if you have anything else, because that was powerful. And that's true. You just dropped the mic right there.
Thank you. That in my world is God. I pray. See, this is the thing, and I will leave you with this. I start my day with prayer, and I always pray that I'm the vessel, that I am the facilitator for him, and that his voice is heard to the hearts that are there to hear. Not everybody in my space is there to hear it, but there are the right people that are there to hear his voice. And that's my prayer before I do anything in my day. No matter what it is, I've set myself up to win. Set yourself up to win. Mr. Thomas has set you up to win every single day of the week. Take advantage of it. Know it's a gift. Every single piece of it is a blessing in your world. And 100% be grateful. Be grateful for each and every moment you have here on this earth and do something with it.
Wow. You know, I tell you, I must be a female Miss Driskill, because I get up in prayer. And my prayer is, God, who do I need to know and who need to know me?
That's it.
Who can I be a blessing to and a light to? Because we have the antidote for financial awareness. Have you noticed we have the financial antidote?
We do. We do.
That's powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you at 1 o'clock on the call with a guest, Ms. Jocelyn Driskill. Can we all give her some love? Can we give her some love? There we go. Give her, come on, a little bit better than that. We can do better than that. Today at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, we'll get people on the call. Show me that you got some results out of this call by getting people on the call. Can you do that for me? 1 o'clock and 3, get people on the call. Just that simple. Just that simple. And then Wednesday, matter of fact, Ms. Driskill, she said she'll be back next Monday, but I think she'll join us Wednesday for a glass of wine, and we'll have her, maybe we'll have a couple of glasses with her, and maybe we'll get a lot more talk out of her. She'll be I'll make her the co-host on Wednesday evening with Ask Al with Miss Jocelyn Driskill. So we'll make it Ask Miss Jocelyn Driskill. How's that on Wednesday night? She'll be my first in the squad here to do that. So everybody come on back Wednesday evening. We'll have a casual conversation. It'll be our happy hour. How's that? All right, everybody. God bless. I'll see everybody at 1 o'clock today, Pacific Coast time. Get people on the call. God bless. Thank you so much.
Bye.